Hi, and welcome to Create Today. I'm designer Jen Gallagher, and these videos are hosted by Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. Today we're going to be using the Rise and Shine collection, created by Tangerine for American Crafts. Before we get started, I wanted to show you some of the elements that are included with this collection, but be sure to visit their website for the entire release. One of my favorite things from the collection are these beautiful wooden stamps that include both the image as well as the shadow. So you can do some two-step stamping, which we will do today. I always love tags, and these tags have beautiful embellishing on them, whether it is items printed on them or items that are stitched. You can see there's some stitching through this wonderful die. I love frames, and these are chipboard frames. There are 8 included in this package. One of the tools included in the We Are Memory Keepers American Crafts kind of matchup are these fun new embossing strips. And you can see that they're in Amy's delightful handwriting, and they're just fun and playful. They do come as these strips, and they emboss part of the card. And you can see here how it's embossed part of the card. For additional techniques, you'll want to check out these stencils. There's 6 of them, and they're called Brooklyn, and you can see all the different designs here. They're perfect for misting 3x4 areas, or you can do it on a layout, but it will only miss this part, and you repeat the pattern by moving the stencil. This die is called Scarlet, and I love that it is in gold, and it includes different icons like cameras, a paper airplane, and a tag. So this is great if you're looking for additional elements. These are stickers, and they're clear, which is really fun because then you can put them, if you are a pocket page journaler, you can put them on the outside of a pocket, or you can put them on your photos and it will be clear behind, so you can layer them as much as you want. 2 different alpha sets to check out. These are both Alex. One has a gold or silver, depending on how you flash the light. It's a little line running through the elements. And then these pink foam stickers. Then I wanted to show you some of the papers from this collection. This is a transparency, and you can see they're white tags. You could use this as a full 12x12 sheet, or you could hand cut out the items. It's completely up to you. And then double-sided 12x12 pattern paper. Amy always has a very fresh and modern approach. I love the watercolor elements in this particular collection. It's also very bright. This is one of my favorite papers. I'm always drawn to the text papers. This camera matches the element that you saw on the stamp. Great wood grain behind that stripe. Arrows, grid. So lots of different kind of everyday life type elements and icons. So it really stretches to fit whatever topic you're discussing or whatever project you're working on. These are cards that you can cut up and put in your pocket pages. So let's go ahead and use this beautiful collection to create a project today. For this technique, I have a piece of watercolor paper, one of the 3x4 stencils, some ink, and a little dauber that I'm going to place on my finger. Now I want to show you how you can easily use this stencil. And the fun thing about it is a little bit see-through, so I can see where it's going off my edge of my watercolor paper. And we're going to use the dauber, and just like you would do on a stencil, like on a wall or a home decor project, we're going to stencil some yellow into these triangles. Now I'll continue the pattern, and then I'll show you how to create a continuous pattern using one stencil. So you can see how I've moved the stencil around a bit, and I'm going to fill in some of the triangles, but not all of them. And by using the dauber, this allows me to kind of isolate some of the shapes and simply add them where I want. And because this particular pattern is random, it works really great for this kind of technique. So again, if you feel like leaving off one of the triangles, by all means, go for it. So you can see the kind of random pattern here. And then I can see here at the top and down here at the bottom that it needs a triangle. So I can just go back in and add it. That's what's so great about using the daubers. A lot of times we think about just using them for mist, but they have a lot of different applications. Now you also notice that I have a little bit of ink that came over on the side here. A great way to cover that up is to simply add color there as if that were intentional. Just add some color there. Same thing happened in this top corner. So we're going to align them and create one more. So just fill in the spaces as you can. So for this next step, we're going to use the wooden stamps, and I mentioned before it is a two-step stamping process. You want to start with the solid piece, and you'll want to start with a lighter color to go in the back because we're layering. Lighter color goes first. I'm stamping into kind of an aqua teal color. And when you're stamping, you'll notice that the top may not be the same as the bottom, meaning the image on the top may not be the perfect alignment with the stamp on the bottom. So think about that. If you run into this where you have the stamped image around it, it's because I pressed too firmly. So let's go ahead and stamp it again. This time we'll just stamp really lightly. And there you can see it's a little bit better. And you can practice until you get the firmness that you want so that it colors in enough without creating these edges around it. Once you have done the solid stamped image, you're going to want to do the outline image next. And you'll want to use a darker color. Let's practice with the first image. We're not going for perfection here. It's all right if it's off-centered. In fact, it's more artistic if it is. So repeating this step, we will outline the hearts we've stamped. And I do it a couple of times until I get exactly what I want. So you can see that by practicing, I get a feel for a better placement. So go ahead and practice. Again, start with lighter and then come in with a darker color. You could also use this same technique on white cardstock if you like the look of just a bold color, but I wanted to use colored cardstock. So here is what the card embossing folders look like. You'll notice that they're very thin, and they do include measurements if you want to get the card placement perfectly. But I'm going to do this on a border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the strip inside. And what I love about these clear embossing folders is that I can move the paper to the placement where I perfectly want the sentiment to be embossed. So now I have the Sizzix die cut machine. I have a specialty plate that tells me exactly the recipe for the cutting plates in the embossing folder. So I have that, I have a clear plate, I have the embossing folder on top, and then you just need one more clear plate. It has all the instructions you need to do all different kinds of shapes. And then you just run it through your machine. To finish the card, I've cut down this triangle piece that we created to fit on the front of this craft cardstock piece. Then using some of the pattern paper from Amy's collection, I'm going to add this gray diagonal stripe to the left edge here. The colors of this card were inspired by this collection. Now I want to show you what it looks like when it has been embossed on cardstock. And I'm going to go ahead and sand a little bit, and you just need a sanding block. This one is massive, but you could actually use whatever one you want. This works especially well if the core of your cardstock or paper is white or even lighter than what you are using. Just to distress up the whole piece. You can even distress the edges by using your sanding block right along the edge. This is just a fun technique to use. So this brings out that embossing a little bit more. Across the bottom of that, we're going to tie some burgundy or fuchsia colored ribbon just to brighten it up again. And there are a lot of different embossing pieces in that embossing folder set. So if you like a different phrase, you can always choose a different phrase. And it's designed so you can emboss directly on your card. However, I wanted to use it on a border today. Fuss with the ribbon a little bit, and we'll trim off the extra pieces. And we can add a green border. This is a bright border, and I debated about doing it, but I really feel like you should trust the colors in the collection because it will inspire you as to how to add color and what works well together. And Amy used this beautiful green, so we're going to use this green. We'll place this on the left side of our card. And then we'll take 2 of the heart stamped pieces that we created, and I punched them out with just a standard 3/4 inch hole punch. And we can add these to our project. This particular heart I stamped off-centered when I came back and punched it, so I'm going to actually tuck this one back a little bit. And then this one we'll place on top of the card. Then I have a third piece, and I cut off the right edge on this one because we're going to align it right on the left here. So we're creating this fun visual triangle. And then to finish off the card, I'm going to use some scrapbook adhesives, white photo corners. I love the look of white on white. It just elevates the card just a little bit, just for some fun. Now, one technique that you can use, because we did the template with the sponge dauber on watercolor paper, you could use water to create a watercolor effect in the background. You could spray it down and let it kind of drip, or you could use a paintbrush and you could brush it around. But here you have a beautiful card that uses the Rise and Shine collection, and I wanted to show you some of the cool techniques you can do with tools that coordinate with this collection. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our tutorial videos. And visit the American Crafts website at any time to see more of this beautiful collection.